So in this video, I'll show you another very important data structure. So this data structure, this powerful data structure allows us to store key values, meaning if you, for instance, are creating an application with users, right? And you want to associate a certain user with a certain value. For instance, a user named Sandra may be of age 29. So you want to be able to create a data structure that will allow you to do that easily. And so that's when we would use a hash map. Okay, so how do we create hash map? Hash map, okay, there we go, hash map. So right away, when we hit enter, we have these angular brackets there. But for now, we won't use them. So I'm going to get rid of this. We're going to say hash map, call this users, is equal to new hash map, just like that. So now that we have instantiated our object, our hash map object, we can use it. So the moment we say users, there it is, dot, and we look, and right away we see a lot of methods we can use to do things with our hash maps, right? So notice we have put, right? We have get, contains, key, entry set, and so many others. Okay, so let's go ahead and put something. Let's get put. And right when we do that, we have two arguments here, right? So the first one is going to be the key, right? The pointer to the value. So our key in this case, let's say as a user has a name, we're going to call this Keely, okay? And I want to give a value, let's say of 34. So now in our users hash map, we have a key value dictionary. So the key is going to be Keely and the value is going to be 34. So now to access the 34 here, we can go and say, users dot get object key. So we can pass in the key to get the object. So if we say Keely and save, let's run this and we should see 34. Okay, so now we know the user Keely, the key is 34. Okay, we can keep adding. Let's say users that put, let's say Bonnie, forever 25. Okay, it's actually put, not put all. Okay, we can do the same. Let's copy this, paste here, users that get the key of Bonnie, and let's run this, and there it is, 24. Now, what other operations we can do with our hash maps? So users dot, we see there contains key. It's a boolean, so returns a boolean, meaning true or false. So we can put that into an if statement. So we can say if users that contains what key. Let's say if it contains Keely, then we want to say something like system out print yay. All right, and else we could say nay. Okay, let's run this. Yay. Well, why? Because we said here users contains indeed Keely. So in this hash map here, we do have a Keely. Now, if we were to change this to say life, save and run, as you notice, we'll see nay. So there's a lot of things we can do. Let's see what else we can do. So users dot values. So we can actually show all of the values contained inside of our hash map. Right? So what we can do, if we go ahead here, let's go ahead and comment this out and say, again, system, and we say values, say users, that values, check what's going to happen. It's going to show all of the entered items, Keely and Bonnie. Okay, so if we save this, run, we should see values 34, 24. Notice here it's showing the values, not necessarily the entire data structure or the entire dictionary, right? Because it would be Keely 34, Bonnie 24, 25, right? So now if we wanted to actually show the entire dictionary, right? So Keely 34, what it would do, we can say system.out.println entire values something like that, I guess. And we can say users dot, let's find the actual method, entry set, right? So we'll show everything. So get enter there, save. Look, now entire values Keely is equal to 34, Bonnie is 25. So Bonnie is the key and 25 is the value. Keely is the key, 34 is the value. We learned about arrays, and then we jumped and learned about array lists, and now we are learning about hash maps. So as you can see, we are progressively going up the scale pertaining to how powerful these data structures really are and how flexible they can be. And as you can see how powerful hash maps are, because you can pair items together, right? Just like in a dictionary. Okay, so key values pair, which is really powerful. So now to iterate through the entire dictionary, the entire hash map, and retrieve the key and the value, we'll have to do something a little bit different here, okay? So the first thing we need to do, we're going to create iterator, okay? There is a class called iterator in Java. What do? We instantiate it. So we say iterator, as you can see, there it is, and we get rid of that. We don't need any of the angular brackets there. So we're going to call it. Going to say equal, so we're going to say users dot entry set, so we're accessing the entire dictionary, the entire hash map, and we're going to invoke the iterator. Okay, so we get iterator here, so we're getting an iterator out of our users hash map and put inside of our it, which is of type iterator. Okay, so once we have that, what we need to do, we're going to say it, so our iterator that we just created, dot has next. So while this is true, right, while we still have something inside of our iterator, inside of our users hash map, we want to do something. Well, the first thing we need to do, this is a little bit strange, we are going to create a map entry, right? So we're going to say map, we don't need any of that, so to say map dot entry, and we don't need any of the angular brackets there, and we're going to call this pair. Okay, I'm going to set this to map dot entry, you can say it dot next. So what's happening here? So we are actually casting our it.next to be of type map entry. So map is essentially another higher level dictionary class or collections class. So that's what we're doing here. And then we're setting everything into our pair, which is of type map entry. So now this pair variable here is of type map entry will have everything that is inside of our users hash map. Now we can say system, and now we can say pair dot get key. Okay. Say put it equal there and say pair dot get value. If we save this, we should see exactly this. Keely is 34, Bonnie is 25. So essentially what we did here, this piece of code here, was the same thing we did below here earlier, except now we have to do something else in order for us to automatically all at once to be able to get the key and the value. Hash map are very, very powerful. Now there's another thing we can do here. So let's go back here and create hash map, another hash map. So we can explicitly say what we want for the key and for the value in our hash map. So we can now say hash map, and actually if you remember earlier when we creating our first hash map, the user above over there, this is what we had, right? These angular brackets and then K and V. What this is saying, well, what kind of hash map you want to create, what kind of variables or data types you want to have inside of our hash map. Okay, so here we can say we want to have a string, right, as the key, and we want the value to be of type int, for instance. And then now we can say new user is equal to new hash map. So now we've said our hash map will have to have a string as the key, and an integer as the value. So we can proceed and do the same thing, say new user, okay, dot put, and you can see key value and tells you right away here it has to be a string and an integer. We can say Sue, and value we can say 34, for instance. Okay, and now we can say system.out new user get object key Sue, save, run, and we have there 34. So the difference here is that we explicitly said this is the contract. There's always going to be string as the key and integer as a value. Whereas in our first instantiation here, in fact, you notice there is a little notification here. It says HashMap is a raw type. Reference to generic type HashMap KV should be parameterized. Okay, so it's telling us whenever you shouldn't create a hash map like we did here, but for education purposes we went ahead and did that. But usually this is how you have to do them. That way you know exactly what goes inside of our hash map, and it's it looks better. So you've learned about hash maps now, and go ahead and just play around with this concept. So I'll see you in the next video.